Microphone check 1 2. What's up, everybody? Peace and blessings, peace and power. This is B. Michael here. You're listening to Shifting Paradigms. We are live, and I'm excited about tonight's show. We'll be getting into that very shortly, but just want to keep our listeners aware. Shifting Paradigms is a show that's all about stimulating critical thought in order to realistically redefine our narrative and positively reshape our reality through dialogue with self-determination. And this again is approaching our year anniversary, as you know, we've been just bringing various personalities to the show and even sharing some personal perspectives of things. But tonight we're going to be discussing cinematic paradigmatics with a guest by the name of Dennis Delamar. Am I pronouncing that last name correct, my brother?
Delamar, yeah.
Delamar. That's what's up. So I want to thank you for coming onto Shifting Paradigms this evening, and just want to start the conversation by first and foremost asking if there's someone or anything that you would like to dedicate this show to, and then something about the show, who you're dedicating it to, that you're inspired to, what has inspired you about the particular dedication.
Yeah, I would say first all praises to the Most High and the King. You know what I'm saying? His son. And I would say dedicated to the people who are waking up. You know what I'm saying? Waking up all across the world to to what's going on.
Yes, sir.
I would dedicate it to them because that's kind of where my passion lies and why I'm so hungry.
Yes,
to
sir.
just keep going. So
awesome.
That's where it is.
Yeah. So tell our listeners who Dennis Delamar is. Like, where you from, your background, so on and so forth, what you find important that we need to know about you.
Yeah, man. So I'm from New Bern, North Carolina, small town in North Carolina, and grew up playing football. I played football ever since I was like about 4 years old. Then that morphed into playing in high school. I did pretty well in high school and all conference and all those things, and then ended up playing college football. And I guess with my dad, man, I was moving around, and I really didn't grow up with my dad. I guess about 7th grade, I moved with my dad, and it was a pretty traumatic situation. And he was just very abusive and verbally and physically. And just going through a lot of things at that time. And I think about high school time, I was talking to one of my friends, and I was just going through a lot, man, with my dad, man. And I didn't just want to because my grandmother had died, and I really didn't have nobody to live with, being in high school. And I hadn't lived with my dad until like 7th grade. So I moved with him, and then I had a friend who was telling me I need to write my thoughts down. And so that was the first beginning of introducing me to writing. So I started writing my thoughts down, and it started out with raps.
Okay.
I had these corny rhymes, you know what I'm saying? And then it went to poetry, and then it went to short stories, and then it went to now it's at scripts and stuff like that. So it's kind of the pain I was going through. I didn't have any channels to really talk to, nobody to really call up and just talk to. So all that kind of went to the pen. And so, long story short, fast forward to my senior year in college, I was playing college football, and I had never really got my whole thing was to go to the NFL. The Most High put this work ethic in me, man, and I was just grinding, man, and I hadn't really got a chance to start. So my senior year, I was gonna get the first chance to really start in my position, to be able to get stats, you know what I'm saying, and go to the CFL or go to the NFL.
Right.
And I was physically in the position to, as far as speed, as far as strength and all that stuff.
Yes, sir.
And I remember just that senior year, man, just the Most High literally took. I mean, it literally was within a week when we came back, he just took the desire for football and everything away, and I was just man, what am I doing? And I remember in the morning, it was March 10th, 2008. You know, I asked the Most High. I was like, if this is you calling me away from football, man, I need to know. I need to know verbally. Like I don't need to know like my thoughts. I need to know verbally. So man, within 15 minutes, you know, he answered me and spoke. You know, spoke through a lady. I felt like it was the burning bush, man. It was like
Oh
he
my.
spoke through a lady. It was telling me, you know, like I know you, and I have something else for you to do. And so that thing is to, use my gifts and talents to, you know, hopefully inspire people,
Mm-hmm.
whatever comes to be from it. You know what I'm saying? But that's to, lift people up, towards the kingdom. You know what I mean?
Right, right,
So
right.
that's where it is right now.
I can so relate to that story, my brother. I'm a former, college student athlete as well. My dream was taken due to injuries, though. It wasn't so much a desire, but y'all opened my eyes through my injuries, and just humbled me in the way that, got my attention to really, seek first the kingdom, and the journey
Yeah,
continues, man. But
yeah,
but you were talking about your faith and
yeah.
everything. Like how has faith, well, let's talk about first what you do. Let's talk about what you do right now, and then we're going to come back and implement the faith component into that. um
Okay.
so fast forward, you start out writing your thoughts, you get into your little rhymes and stuff, and I'm sure they wasn't corny because they're your experience, and that makes them real.
Yeah,
you know you
yeah,
get into your
for sure.
poetry, your short stories, and then you started writing scripts. Like, talk about that progression for you. Let's talk about that first, and then how that has led you to your profession. So talk about the progression to your profession.
Yeah, man. So my in that senior year, after I quit football, it was just a whole different world for me because it literally, went from having friends and
Mm-hmm.
you popular and all this other stuff. I mean, I wasn't heavily popular, but a
You
little
got
bit.
notoriety, right? You
And
walked off the
you
squad
know,
too.
huh?
You just walked off the squad.
Yeah, just walked off the squad. Literally,
Wow.
literally, it was we had we had that morning where when the
Mm.
Most High spoke, we had a meeting. It was a spring break. We was coming back from spring break, and it
Mm.
was it was me and two other of my friends, Eli and Daniel, and we were just
Them
like
names.
debating. Yeah, exactly, exactly. Most I was moving already, man, and so we were like, man, okay, well that's what it is. And so we did it that day. After the meeting, we told the head coach, and he was thinking we were joking. And so after that, man, it kind of caused a stir at the college, and so much so that I think ABC out there picked it up, and
Mm.
they was like, it was like they did like a little story on it. It was talking about from the field to the soul field, and so after that, I really didn't know like what direction. I'm like, okay, well he said he got something for me to do. I don't know what that is. And then I went to see Dyer of Anne Frank, the stage play, and my friend Chantel, she's an actress right now. She's in New York, and I just seen it. And I was like, man, this is the first time I had an experience of like, especially being from a small town. I didn't really see like theater and acting and all this stuff. So I kind of had the acting bug, and I was like, oh man, like how do I get involved in this situation, man? So I took a summer course, um, and did acting, and I did directing, and that's when I seen where it was like, we would do little exercises in directing, and you know, when I got to my turn, when I did it, it was just naturally, it was just natural, and then people were like just blown away by, you know, uh, just the movement of it. And for me, it was just like it just came natural. And so my teacher, he was like, "Man, you really need to do something with this." So I was like, "Okay." So I tried to get into New York Film. I got into New York Film Academy, but I ended up didn't go because it was too expensive. And so I just started writing, man. I started writing. Oh, let me rewind. So 2008 June, I walked into the apartment, and all of a sudden I got this whole idea from a movie. It was crazy. It was like I just got my pen. And I was just like, and it was just like it just came. It was like a package. You know what I mean? Like a delivery. And it was just like, this is the main character. This is that. This is that.
Uh-huh.
So originally, because I was in the theater, I did theater, and I started off as an actor. And so I thought it was going to be a stage play, but it was actually a movie because I was like trying to fit it in. So it progressed into. It started with like my first film, Undeserving Grace, and that was a film that I wrote that when I thought I was going to New York Film Academy, I wrote it to, just getting ahead of the game for like my thesis or something like that. But then ended up shooting that when I was working at Walgreens. I was just like, man, that was my first movie. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just like, man, I'm gonna just do it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Most High helped me, you know what I'm saying? And just put the motivation in me. And then it just progressed over the years of just, uh, doing, business things and learning about just the craft. And so now I say, like, now I'm really just understanding who I am as a director, like as a film director, and getting my voice and I think that takes a while. People think that it's just like you just know who you are at all of a sudden. It's like it take a while to just learn that. It's not just a one moment thing. So I'm seeing what I'm passionate about, you know what I'm saying, and what stories that, because a lot of stories come from my life or things that I'm passionate about, So that's kind of how I got to this point, you know what I mean? So
right. So as a director, and a cinematographer, you do cinematography, I'm assuming too, correct? You shoot the pictures, or you just more behind the scenes?
No, I have my friend Greg Watts. He does most of my cinematography. I can do stuff on the camera, but
yeah,
I'm more so behind it.
Okay. Dope.
So
So,
yeah.
how do you feel your faith like has informed your profession? And maybe talk about your faith a little bit if you don't mind. Like, I'm sure as fellow Israelite, I have, some affinity in knowing that. But for our listeners, for your sake and your perspectives, share a little bit about your faith and then how your faith has informed you in your profession.
Yeah, faith has been big, man. I mean, it for me, I got to start with my grandmother, man. Because she put us on, man. She put us on, man. I started out in the church. I started in the Baptist church, and she was putting us on, man. And she was just like, we got to read in the morning, we got to read in the night. You know what I'm saying? She doing Bible studies, and you know what I'm saying. And she was just had us on it, and just training us up. You know what I'm saying? To get in the word and learn the word. And so after a time, after I left college, I was really seeking. I think about 2009, I was, towards the winter, I was really seeking the Most High. And I was just, man, I remember one time, I just felt like whatever I was missing, I didn't have, like I was missing something. You know what I'm saying? Like I was missing something. I don't know what it was, but I was just like, I'm missing something. Like I'm not lining up to whatever the truth is. And I remember, I said, man, I remember I got mad one time. Not more so at the Most High, but just life. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because I, quit football. I'm on this path. I ain't got no answers. You know what I mean? So I just said, I'm trying to speak to the Elohim of the God. I said, I'm trying to speak to the God of Abraham, and Isaac and Jacob. Where he at? Let me speak to him because so I can get some answers or what's going on,
Sir.
And so, and part of my prayer too is to, like, I wanted to walk like the disciples walked. I wanted to know what they knew. Like, I didn't want to know what the church knew or pastor was saying or what the internet saying. So, like, when I prayed that, man, the doors, just floodgates just started opening up, man. I mean, I started to learn about the Sabbath. I started learning about the Sabbath and about, the Most High's name, and the imagery they put out there. And so faith for me has been like the core of like, and more so, not even just faith, the Mashiach, the Messiah, Yahusha, he's been like the core of like just life for me, and just understanding the magnitude of the kingdom and understanding the magnitude of what's before us, you know what I'm saying, as a people. So to me, it's been instrumental, and without faith, I mean, I wouldn't be in this position even talking to you right now. You know what I'm saying? Without belief, you know what I'm saying? So, so it's been the key factor. You know what I'm saying?
That's powerful.
And also, keeping his word. You know what I'm saying? Keeping his word and living set apart. So
Yeah.
um,
So are most of your films that you've written and directed, are they faith-based films or are they historical? Like what thrust do you seek to, you know, like project with your art?
yeah. So right, a lot of my films have been faith based, and they always have some element of like truth in them. I think as far as the material that I have now, a lot of the feature films and bigger films that when I get into, um, that Yah has given me, they'll get into different genres. So they won't look like, okay, well, I'm going to do all biblical movies, or I'm
Okay.
all these type of genre movies, like one type of genre. Um, but they all have some element of truth and also some element of revelation in it. But they range from historical. I like to, one of the big topics that I would say the three things, or the two things that I'm really big on is religious deception, um, the black experience, in America, telling that story, um, and uh, and also the suffering of like the voices that don't really get a chance to really get out there. So that's kind of like genres that I stick in. But I really want to get into everything, man. For animation,
Hmm.
we working on some animations. We working on science fiction,
Oh.
uh, sci-fi. You know what I'm saying? So we working on historical. You name it. Every genre. I remember an old man told me one time. He's when I was coming up, man. He was like, man, look, don't let you know and not to say that you do it for people, but don't let people like box you in to say that that's all you can do. Especially children of the Most High. He has given us multi-talented, faceted. So no one could, and as we are in His image, in the Messiah's image, man, you can't box him in.
Right.
I feel like that with creativity, that don't let anybody box you in to say this is all you do. We instruments, man, and most I can change it up anytime.
At
you
any
know.
time. Truly,
So
truly, truly. So I see you wearing a shirt that says Zion on it, right? That's the name of your studio company. Talk
yeah,
about,
Zan.
Zayn Studio. So is that the letter Zayn as well? Like what's the
Yeah,
concept behind that?
yeah. This is the letter. Uh, it's a form of the letter Zan.
Mm-hmm.
The seventh letter of the Hebrew alphabet,
Correct.
and
Yeah.
it's the inspiration behind it. Is when you look up the letter, it links to like a plow and also a weapon. And so for me, art art is the new weapon. Film for me is a weapon. You know what I'm saying? So man, that's
Powerful.
been my prayer, is that I be a weapon in the Most High's hands, man, to destroy all the propaganda and all
Yes.
the false imagery that they have been putting out for years to deceive us and to get us to think lower of ourselves, of how we were created to be. So I'm excited. Every project is just a blow. You know what I'm saying, to Kingdom of Darkness, man.
No doubt. So
So
how long has your company been around?
so we just made a year recently. Yeah, so we're over a year. Officially um a year, and I would say, but I've been in film since 2011.
Okay.
But this is my first time, because 2017 I moved out to California. I moved out to LA.
Is that where
Um,
you are now?
to Yeah,
Okay, cool, man. Man, blessings and prosperity to you with that, man. So you
blessing.
talk about this weapon and propaganda and countering it, like art. What
Yeah.
artists? I'm gonna talk about the artist first, and we're gonna get back to you. But I want to get like some of your sources of inspiration. Which artists, from film, it could be from music, any genre that you want to choose from art, like have inspired you to do what it is that you do.
Oh, that's a good question, man. I think about like Spike. You know what I'm saying? Like Spike Lee, and then you know Christopher Nolan. Um, and I would more so say a lot of films inspired me too, because
Talk about it. Yeah.
sometimes different directors they hit on one and then they go somewhere else, but a lot of films, and I'll be honest with you, a lot of in the past, I'm kind of the dude that like watch stuff, but I don't really like to have a lot of stuff in my mind because I like to have fresh thought. But recently, I really been like excited about some of the films that are coming out that are telling the Black experience. And so I say a lot of films that inspire me. Even recently, I've been inspired by Small Acts that's been on Prime. That's been a really inspirational film. And then
is that the name of the Small Acts?
Small Acts. And then Nate Parker. I love the Birth of a Nation, and so it's different films and different filmmakers. But I don't know if I can say one in particular, but I would say a lot of films.
Awesome. So how many films have you produced yourself, like in terms of like that you have in your whole repertoire? How many have you produced so far?
Oh man, you gonna make me okay. Two.
And talk about them. Even if you go to the first, just talk about them as you're thinking about it.
Yeah, we go through it. So my first short film was Undeserving Grace, right? The second was The Counterintelligent. The third was, and that's like 2000, I think like 14. And then Jericho's Rose, which was about a man who had schizophrenia and dealing with homeless, and then how kindness kind of changes the game when it comes with people that have hit bottom. You know what I'm saying? Then last year we produced a series called The Awakening, and it's a 7-part series that's on YouTube. And then Beautiful Lust, which was my testimony, which is a kind of like a docu-drama about my testimony. And then Land of Wonder, which is also a visual testimony of another young lady named Danielle Sells. And recently we just shot Black Wall Street, American Nightmare.
Wow.
And so that's we shot that in Tulsa, and so that's going to be dropping next year.
So that was on location.
Yeah, that was on location.
Ooh, powerful, man. Powerful.
Yeah.
Powerful.
Yeah.
So for you, what film has been the most impactful in you, like directing and even writing, just crafting that whole thing? And then for your audience, what have you found to be the most impactful in terms of response?
I would say the most impactful. Well, if I could pick two,
no doubt.
I feel like it's hard to like one. They different things. So
yeah.
But I would say the two most one is Beautiful Lust, because that's just been my journey. That was my journey and my story, being retold. So for me, that was impactful, and also like audience wise, this is the feedback and response that people have said concerning concerning the testimony has been really encouraging, because it was based off of my book, The Wilderness, and it was just the journey. You know what I'm saying? And for me, it's just been like it's really hard to tell. It's really hard to like see your story and like see see it all together. But
right.
That one, and then the Black Wall Street. That has been just a really. I mean, I'm still kind of in that. They ain't hit yet, but just just a quick story. We filmed. I think the third day of filming, we had this scene. What I can't tell you, but the scene was very controversial, and it was so controversial that because we filmed it in the hood. I mean, we filmed it in the hood, and it just brought a lot of people out. You know, the police came out, you know, tried to shut us down, you know, but we had our paperwork and everything. And it was just, you know, people wanted to get interviewed. It was just spreading. It kind of went, you know, semi-viral out there. And it was just hitting because it was showing me that you just in the right place at the right time. And this content is like needed to come out. Like years ago, like the world wasn't like just warmed up to like start to talk about, you know, these tough topics. And so I'm really excited about to see how that develops. Because even on the streets it was just hitting, you know.
Intense. That's powerful, my brother. You all are listening live to Shifting Paradigms. We're here featuring a brother from North Carolina now living in Los Angeles by the name of Dennis Delamar. He is a director. He has his own studio company called Zayn Studios. And we're just talking about, you know, his views. We're talking about his work and then his journey to get to where he is. And if anybody has any questions, please feel free to call in for you know, your question or your comment. The number is 816-599-6893. We're also live on Facebook under KUAW Radio, YouTube. We got a lot of different outlets. And so, you know, do feel free to chime in. So quickly, man, we're going to take a brief break in a minute, but talk about your testimony, your Beautiful Lust movie. That's a powerful title. It's kind of almost like, you know, you can see the juxtaposition of it, right? But talk about that in terms of writing it and then seeing it on the screen and what, you know, you wanted to really accomplish with that particular work.
Yeah, man. Beautiful Lust, man. So, man, it started with just my journey of like freedom. You know what I'm saying? Like it goes back to trauma. You know what I'm saying, that I had. You know, which a lot of brothers, which is really deep to talk about, but you know, it is what it is. Because one of my first, I guess, introductions to women and just relationships was through, you know, a videotape that my granddad had, you know, of pornography. And so I got linked with that at an early age, and that kind of like started this spiral because I didn't really have like male leadership just to cover me, you know.
Right.
And so it just led into, you know, really bad relationships, really bad situations, me going through this same thing. And it's like when you let's say when you contract a certain type of spirit, it manifests in the same way in different avenues of your life. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's money, whether it's women, whether it's this or that, it's gonna be like the same revolving door. And so so that's kind of what my journey was. And then I remember before I moved to Los Angeles, you know, I was engaged, man, and that was like the first time with my like my ex fiance. I was like, man, why do I keep running into the same same woman? It was like I kept attracting this same situation. Like,
wow,
what the heck is this, man? So I was like, what is that about life that keeps happening? And so I was asking the questions about like my life and like why I keep going in this circle. And so the Most High was just really breaking down just my life, you know what I'm saying? And then and like the trauma that I had and how it had shaped me into the man that I was, and then, you know, how and then the process to get free. And so one of the things on my freedom story is like, you know, I love when Mashiach, you know, when he was talking to the man, it was a man that was by the well. He was like, you know, I want to get healed. You know, he came to get in the pool and everything, and you know, and he asked him, do you really want to get healed? You know what I'm saying? And that hit me because it was like that was me. You know what I'm saying? Going by the pool, trying to get healing, but you faking. You know what I'm saying? Like you really don't really want it. You talking about it. You know what I'm saying? But you ain't really want to, you know, ante up and put the work in. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
To submit.
Wow.
And so so for me, that was, you know, when I started seeing that it was spiritual warfare when it came to like lust, and it came to, you know, these different things, you know, and that the demonic forces was behind that, man. It just really just took me over the edge, man, to really like get those spirits out of my life, you know, and get them out of my, you know, just being, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was just powerful for me, and I know a lot of brothers is going through that.
Yes, sir.
Cause it was tough. It was tough to share it, but when I shared it, you know, a lot of brothers, man, hitting me up like, man, I'm going through this too, man. So it's a story that a lot of brothers don't talk about because, you know, a lot of us, you know, that's at least in the 30s or 40, you know, we grew, you know, we came in the world during the crack era, you know what I'm saying? And the fathers not being in the home, stuff like that, man. So that was running rampant, man. And so this is the generation I feel like is getting healed, man. And, you know, so
powerful.
That's part of it. That's part of the testimony. And then in the process of like seeing it on a screen, it was tough, man. Even doing like the little thing, it was like, man, it just hit you, man. It hit you like, man, this is the story. But I feel like, and encourage people too, whether it's a short story, whether it's just writing it down in the book, you know, because some people are still on their process to get free, and they don't really have a testimony yet to share. Mm-hmm. But if you do, man, it's so powerful because you just get to see the work that the Most High has done in you, and it's just a beautiful thing, man, because you can reflect on it and you can just share that with other people, man, and hopefully they're inspired to, you know, get through whatever they got through. So the process of it, man, was just like healing, man, and it was healing, you know. I would say, you know, too, healing.
Powerful, you know? Man. Thank you for that. Thank you. We're gonna take a brief break though. We're gonna come back. We're gonna, you know, dig into this brother's mind some more and see where we can actually, you know, check out some of his work and just you know, take this conversation on out. But you're listening to Shifting Paradigms. I'm B. Michael. We will take a brief break. We will come right back and finish this interview up.
Station. We don't only bring you videos on Facebook and YouTube, but listen to our audio only, where you'll get shows like Cheryl Underwood and Blues Time in the City. You can pick us up at www.kuaw.org or go to the TuneIn app and search KUAW. Listen to us. We're on 24 hours a day. That's KUAW Radio, Kansas City's global community radio station. And this is what you hear every day from noon till 2. Don't miss the Cheryl Underwood Show.
Education credit black. Where you at, baby?
Sure, I'm at my first alma mater, Clark Atlanta University in Atlanta, Georgia. CAU was the first HBCU in the southern United States. Shout out to our affiliate ATL Talks in Atlanta, Georgia, and everyone getting out there to vote for those 2 Senate seats. We love you.
That's what I'm talking.
You are listening to KUAW Radio, home of the all-new Jamal Bakes Show, and I'm Jamal Bakes, and thank you so very much for listening to the station bringing you talk, news, entertainment that you won't get anywhere else.
Man, we are back live here, Shifting Paradigms. I'm your host, B. Michael. We're discussing cinematic paradigmatics with my man Dennis Delamer out of North Carolina, now residing in Los Angeles in Zayn Studios. He was just discussing his biopic, I guess you could almost call it, the Beautiful Lust movie. And so is that on YouTube, my brother?
Yeah, it's on YouTube. Beautiful Lust, Dennis Delamar. You can check it out there.
Okay, and most of the works that you have are found on YouTube.
Most of it except the American Nightmare.
Okay,
The
okay.
Black Wall Street. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And we'll definitely get into that in terms of your YouTube
Yeah.
station as well. But what led you to want to now cover this Black Wall Street American Nightmare matter? Like, there's not a lot of documentation, especially like, you know, visual. There's a few things out there from what I've seen, but there's not a lot of information out there that really chronicles and captures that story. What led you to want to do that?
Yeah, man. So let's say 2014. So the Most High had me in Miami, man, and my friend, he would always talk about Black Wall Street, and so I thought it was like a concept of like black people working together. I didn't know it was a real thing, and so I looked it up and I was like, oh man, this is cold, man, like, and nobody was really talking about it too much. And I started to do some research on it, and I started to find some different things. And man, I just, long story short, this story kept like following me. It would just pop up and just, and people would say things. And then, I remember I was kind of writing some things down about research I was doing. And I was like, man, because the cold part about it for me wasn't just, okay, black people working together, you know what I'm saying? We did that. We've been doing that, you know what I'm saying? Like for centuries back in the day.
Right.
But my thing is, what was the transition from, coming from slavery, coming from your parents being slaves to coming from being, thousands and millionaires and real estate and, all these different things. Like, what's that process of one generation
right
going there?
That's exactly what
you know
it
what I mean?
was. Yes, sir.
Like that hashtag. And for me, right now, I feel like it's the most important because, we're coming out this 400-year situation, at least from 1619, you know what I'm saying? I know it's been more, but at least from there, and it's really the same type of situation where, we're coming out, it's looking different, you know what I'm saying? But we're waking up to who we are, and it's time to start to tell. That's one of the things I'm passionate about, is to start to tell our narrative from this point of view that is not victim based, that is not like, oh, we, saying, oh man, we were slaves, man, and this versus like, man, what is the highlight? You know what I'm saying? Where's the power? Where's the source? And so, that's the thing that I'm excited about with this story. And so with the American Nightmare, it's actually a short film. It's gonna be about 40 minutes, but it's actually a segue to the bigger film, the bigger Black Wall Street film that we have. But it's basically, I guess, a quick, without giving it away. O.W. Gurley, who was the founder of Black Wall Street, he has a dream in 1905, and in his dream, he's taken to 2020, and so he's taken to see the Black experience in 2020 and all the things that we're facing. And I think it's going to be powerful, man, because for us living in the experience, it doesn't sometimes thing doesn't it doesn't look like the apocalypse. You know what I'm saying? Because we're here, we're in it. You know what I'm saying? But when you have somebody from the past voicing like the mind state that was from there and now speaking to this generation, in that it's just like, oh, it's like a mirror, like, oh, that's what's really going on. You know what I'm saying? So we become comfortable in this captivity, man. So so that's kind of where the Most High is, because that was a big question for me. Is like, okay, I really take time out to seek Yah on what projects that He wants me to do, and I was like, well, why this project? And the thing that I got is He, for the Black folks that are I would say, quote unquote, sleep, is that the first thing that He desires them to know is to separate. Is just, even if that's on, even if that's just on the grocery store or buying black or whatever, you know what I'm saying? The first level, you know what I mean? Is to start doing that, start to get into the mind state to not be intimidated by, dealing with your own people. you know. And so
That's rich.
so I think there's going to be that's a progression into other deeper things, but we got to start somewhere.
You know, when you said about what the concept is, I couldn't help but think of Abraham in Genesis 15 about seeing his ancestors or his descendants, you know, in that darkness, you know, going through that 400-year affliction, you know, and you mentioned about the 400 years. I mean, so how do you see that prophetically, like in terms of our reality, dealing with you know, even looking at the 20s, 30s? What year was that Black Wall, the Tulsa massacre? What year was that? Was that like 38 or
1921.
something? 21?
1921.
Oh wow, so that was prior to the Depression. It was like in that era, just leading up to that. Wow. So talk about like how do you see that prophetically fitting into this 400-year sentence that Abraham was told his descendants would experience?
Yeah, man, it's like a, you know, I would say I'm a fan of prophecy. You know what I'm saying? I love prophecy, and when I look at it, before even getting to that part, I feel like we have to start with Joseph, and we look at Joseph's story, because I feel like Joseph's story is Israel's story. You know, he went from, you know, from being with his father to being taken captive, and then being sold to, you know what I'm saying, sold to this one, sold to that one, and now he's a slave. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, he you know, the Most High is on him, and the wisdom is on him, and then, you know, he gets promoted, and then so much so that he's now in, you know, he's in a position of power, you know, right under Pharaoh. Yeah. And so, you know, when you look at Israel's story again, you see the same kind of concept. You see we go from, you know, Moses, you know, we slaves in Egypt, we grew, and now we promised. Now we got King David, we got Solomon, you know what I'm saying? The same, and then it falls again, right? So you keep seeing this you know, this gradual progression. So when we get to Abraham in the 400 years, like we had that 400 years when, you know, and I know that's debatable as far as like, you know, being in Egypt and Joseph and all that. Right. But when we get to, let's say this captivity of 400 years, I feel like prophetically, Black Wall Street was actually called Little Africa, and there's a lot of connection to our prominence and then the fall. And so one of my big studies was what is this thing that keeps happening that makes us, that, you know, we rise, you know what I'm saying, and then we fall. Like, what is that thing? Like, how can we learn from that continual process? And so I feel like those stories are connected. Like Black Wall Street is connected too, because we had promise, we had all these things, but you know how it ended. So what is the lesson in that? And so now I feel like the next stage for us in this captivity is to rise back to prominence. You know what I'm saying? To rise back to prominence, a new renaissance, even amongst the darkness. And then I feel like it's gonna, you know, it's one of those things where it just dips again, you know, and this time it'll be, you know, at the end it's not gonna be Moshe that's gonna save us. You know what I'm saying? It's Mashiach. But I do feel like we're approaching an age where there's going to be a renaissance, and there's going to be that Joseph era, right, where people are not, you know, people are going to have to say. I was reading the prophecy the other day. I think it was Hosea or Ezekiel, but he said that everywhere that they said you are not a people, they said that you will be called the children of the living Elohim. Mm-hmm. You know, so everywhere they saying, oh, you know, and what we got to understand is the Most High is going to do it. You know, we ain't got to be shouting who we are, you know what I'm saying, and telling everybody who we are. We just got to walk in the power. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be evident. Sooner or later, it's going to be evident who's who. Because, you know, just like in Egypt, you know, that they had their mighty one doing with their magician stuff. Right. But when Moses was breaking it out, they couldn't. They said, "Oh, this is something different. This is something different," you know. So I'm excited about that, man. I'm excited about that, and I think that's where, you know, there's going to be a shift in just power. You know what I'm saying? Power for a time. You know what I'm saying? As a shift in power for a time and Renaissance for a time. Because that's been my thing. Is I'm like, man, okay, the Most High gave me all these movies, and years ago, man, I was like, man, the world about to end, and really, you know, trying to deal with that to be like, am I on a dummy mission? And I'm not saying, I know these different timelines, man, but what I did get is that, we have some things that we got to go through. Right. The world got to see who we are first before, the end and the good news got to be preached, man. It's a lot of things that got to happen, man. So, I'm excited about where it's shifting to. And that's why I try to focus on, even though they, you got the COVID, you got the vaccines, you got all this other stuff they doing, man. But what is the goodness? What's the good things happen?
Right,
you know what I mean?
Right.
So,
do we have a caller? No caller. Okay. So, I thought we had a caller, but we don't have a caller. One thing that you're speaking of, that looking at your work, what you're doing, the voice that you're articulating, and using your art as a weapon. I look at it in a threefold sense, because there's some important movements that our people historically have contributed to our liberation, right?
Yeah.
I look at the Harlem Renaissance.
Mm-hmm.
I look at the Negritude movement over in West Africa, and I look at the Black Arts movement, right? These three movements have contributed to a cultural revolution, right? The cultural revolution, which really to me is like the impetus of our revolution. Once we can deal with our identity and our culture and deal with who we are and not who people are saying we are, that contributes to a transformation, a major transformation. And I see how you are using your art as a platform in that spirit. And I commend you for that. And I encourage you to continue to do that, my brother, because that's something that we need, because the images are so important. When we look at movies today, a lot of the images we see of so-called African Americans are so just pathetic. The music industry, we're promoting mindlessness, and so to present it in a new light, in a refreshing light, and in a realistic light, historically, to see the balance. We're not a monolithic people. I think that is so powerful that you're doing that with your work.
Yeah.
And so, looking at that landscape today, where do you see your art going, given where you have already come from? Like, where do you see yourself taking your art to in the next phase?
Man, y'all willing, and to globally, you know what I'm saying? I feel like it's globally, worldwide, because a lot of the concepts he's giving me, man, it's I'm not gonna, and I say this intimidating in the fact of, it's not, it's not a light thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, he started me out on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Like, but it's stuff that's like, man, this is heavy. You know what I mean? And it's huge concept. High concept thing. So, I feel like it's gonna be globally and be a part of what you're saying. That next wave of Renaissance that begins to change that imagery, hopefully doing black movies, biblical black movies where you seeing King Solomon, and you seeing David, and you seeing us on the screen, and you seeing like it, and it's like, oh, this is authentic. This is what, and it feels in your heart like, no, this is that. So, I feel like it's definitely gonna go globally and start to, I just I don't know what the response to that is. I don't know what the metrics of that, but I do know that it's gonna hit on that level.
That's powerful. That's powerful. So if you could leave any closing thought for our listeners about Zayn Studios, about Dennis Delamar, and the work that you have left, what would you want the listeners to take away most from your perspective that you want to convey to your audience?
Yeah, man, I would say find out why. Find out why you are here. You know what I'm saying? Find out who you are. You know what I'm saying? And not just who you are as, I think one level is culturally, but whose you are. You see what I'm saying? And why you were created. One of my favorite verses, I think it's Psalms. I think it's it could be 149 or one. Don't quote me, but it says that He's written all our days in the book. So I believe that everybody has a book in Shamayim that has the plan. You know what I'm saying? Mashiach wrote the plan out. And so we got to ask the hard questions like, why am I here? What's written up there? You know what I mean? And your whole thing got to be to submit to get in the right position to walk in that. And so, when you think about Zen Studios and you think about me, that's my MO. You know what I'm saying? My motive is like how Mashiach, he said, he came to do what was written in the scroll, written concerning him. And so that's my MO, and that should be every MO, everybody MO. To
follow the script.
You know what I'm saying? Follow the script. You know what I'm saying? Follow the script. So yeah, man, that's my thoughts on that.
That's powerful. Toda. So how can people get in touch with Brother Dennis Delamer in terms of like, your outlets, like in terms of seeing your work? If somebody has an idea or wants you to, maybe follow up on a story or something like that. I don't know how, you move in terms of that note, but how can people get in contact with Dennis Delamar?
Yeah, so you can check me on all social medias, Dennis Delamar on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram by Dennis Delamar. We on all social media with Zen Studios. We actually just launched our website, zenstudios.com.
Awesome.
So you can check out
congratulations, brother.
Some people that we got going on there. And yeah, man, so you'll find me easy, man.
That's powerful, man. I appreciate that. Any last thoughts you want to share?
Man, just be diligent. You know what I'm saying? Everybody be diligent in this hour, man. They coming out with some vaccines, man. Do your research. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Do your research and stand against the beast, man. You know what I'm saying? Resist against the beast and resist against the fascism and the spirit of the Antichrist, man. So anti-Messiah, man. So
it's real, man. I mean, everything is here. We're in the midst of it, and it's almost surreal, and it's so interesting. They got this planetary alignment that they're talking about now, and this is, one of the signs of the Messiah. You use the word Mashiach, just for our listeners, Mashiach is a Hebrew word that means Messiah. That's the original title and office of the Redeemer of humanity. And he used the word Shamayim, that's a word for heaven. So there may be some words that you may have heard that you're not necessarily familiar with. But this is about restoring our consciousness in our culture. And I appreciate you even, bringing these conscious words up, because this is something that is about our restoration. And restoration is so important for us in these days, man. And to, have a brother in faith, a brother in the Messiah, in Mashiach, share your views like that, without shame and reservation. I applaud you and commend you, for that, because these are the times that the righteous will stand. And so I definitely continue to encourage you to share your voice and the spirit that the Most High Abba Yah has placed in you, so that, he can be uplifted, man. And I think that's exactly what you're doing, is you're uplifting, your journey that Yah has allowed you to embark on. So, man, keep doing what you're doing, my brother. You know what I'm saying?
Man, I appreciate you. Appreciate you having me on, man. And
no doubt.
Blessings to you, man, on your platform, man, that you help others, get their voice out, man, and help focus on the truth, focus on the positive, man, of and start to shift that mind state. You know what I mean?
Sir.
So
that's
keep doing that, man.
That's what we do, shifting paradigms. Thank you again, my brother. So we are actually just want to thank our listeners for tuning in this evening. We want to thank anybody who tuned in. I want to thank Brother Dennis again for being here and agreeing to share his views with us this evening. Up next, we got Skrilltown coming up at 7 o'clock hour. My next show is going to have KC Historic Paradigmatic. We're going to feature local Kansas City historian by the name of Eric Stafford, a good brother of mine, also in faith as well. And so we're going to be talking about some of the black history of Kansas City and some of the things that, you know, have had a national resonance as well, international even. But I want to thank you all once again for tuning in. Brother Dennis, man, shalom alaikum to you, my aunt, and we will go forward from there. This is B. Michael with Shifting Paradigms. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Also, keep in mind, when I would say listen soon, we're going to have a follow-up to the co-parenting paradigmatic that Sister Candace Benton and I shared. We're going to do some live, so just check that out as well. We're going to be having that coming up very soon, so get ready for that. But they got a lot of good things coming up. So check out Brumban on ZionStudios.com. Dennis Delamar on all his social media outlets. Check out his shorts and his longs and his series. And we're looking for that American Nightmare coming out soon. When's the release date for that?
June 2020.
Okay.
It's gonna be in Tulsa. The first premiere is gonna be in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Okay.
So you can get tickets on GreenwoodFilmFestival.com.
Wow. Powerful.
Yeah.
Powerful. Thank you again, my brother. This is Shifting Paradigms. I'm B. Michael signing off. Peace and power. Shalom, shalom.
All right, you're listening to KUAW Radio, Kansas City's global community radio station. We don't only bring you videos on Facebook and YouTube, but listen to our audio only, where you'll get shows like Cheryl Underwood and Blues Time in the City. You can pick us up at www.kuaw.org or go to the TuneIn app and search KUAW. Listen to us. We're on 24 hours a day. That's KUAW Radio, Kansas City's global community radio station. And this is what you hear every day from noon till 2. Don't miss the Cheryl Underwood Show.
Black. Where you at, baby?
Sure, I'm at my first alma mater, Clark Atlanta University in Atlanta, Georgia. CAU was the first HBCU in the southern United States. Shout out to our affiliate ATL Talks in Atlanta, Georgia, and everyone getting out there to vote for those 2 Senate seats. We love you.
That's what I'm talking.
You are listening to KUAW Radio, home of the all-new Jamal Bake Show, and I'm Jamal Bakes, and thank you so very much for listening to the station bringing you talk, news, entertainment that you won't get anywhere else. KUAW, in, of, and about our community.
This is the last weekend before Christmas, and on Blue Simon City, we're wrapping up our all Christmas blues and Southern Soul program.
Gene Bailey.
We have a very special guest that you will definitely enjoy, and we'll hear from some of the artists that sing the Christmas blues. Join me, Gene Bailey, for Blues Time in the City this weekend before Christmas, right here.
This is comedian Janelle Banks, and you are listening to KUAW, Kansas City.
KUAW listeners, this is Carl Boyd for Wave Your Grades, coming to you every Saturday from 1 until 2 p.m. right here on KUAW. This program features American students striving for excellence in honor of our troops and American veterans, encouraging American students. Please join us every Saturday from 1 until 2 p.m.